It was the evening before Thanksgiving. A cold rain soaked the runways of Portland International Airport. Travelers hurried through the terminal, unaware that they were about to witness the beginning of the most mysterious hijacking in American aviation history. Among the passengers boarding Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305, a quiet, middle-aged man stood out. He wore a black suit, a neatly pressed white shirt, a dark tie, and a raincoat. In his hand, he carried a simple black briefcase. The ticket in his name read Dan Cooper. He looked ordinary, calm, almost forgettable, and that made him even more dangerous. As he boarded the Boeing 727, he gave a small nod to the flight attendant. No one knew that this unremarkable man would soon become the legendary figure known worldwide as D.B. Cooper. The plane lifted off the runway at 2:50 p.m. The short flight from Portland to Seattle normally lasted only 30 minutes. Everything appeared routine until Cooper leaned toward flight attendant Florence Schaffner and handed her a note. She assumed it was just another businessman flirting, so she slipped the note into her pocket without reading it. Cooper leaned closer and whispered, "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." Her heart froze. She opened the note with trembling fingers. The handwriting was clean and controlled. "I have a bomb in my briefcase. Sit beside me." Trying to remain calm, she sat down. Cooper quietly opened his briefcase. Inside, she saw red cylinders, wires, and a battery. Whether real or not, it looked convincing enough to terrorize anyone. He spoke calmly, almost politely. "I want $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, and a fuel truck waiting in Seattle to refuel the aircraft. No shouting, no panic, just cold precision." The airline headquarters and FBI were immediately notified. The pilots radioed control and reported the hijacking. Instead of fear, an eerie sense of order settled inside the cabin. Cooper ordered Schaffner to deliver his demands to the cockpit. He warned her, "No tricks. I know everything that's happening on the ground." While the authorities rushed to gather the ransom money and parachutes, the plane circled above Seattle for nearly 2 hours. Passengers began to grow uneasy due to the unusual delay. But Cooper insisted that the flight attendants keep everyone calm. Amazingly, he behaved courteously. He offered to pay for everyone's meals and even instructed the crew, "Make sure the passengers are comfortable." The hijacking was frightening, yet strangely cooperative. At 5:39 p.m., Flight 305 descended toward Seattle-Tacoma Airport. By now, the authorities had prepared everything. $200,000 in $20 bills, tightly rubber-banded and packed in a canvas bank bag. 4 parachutes, 2 main, 2 reserve. A fuel truck waiting beside the aircraft. Cooper insisted that the cockpit keep the cabin lights dim so snipers couldn't target him. Once the plane landed, the passengers were allowed to disembark. None of them had any idea they were part of a hijacking. As they walked off, they saw nothing unusual. Cooper remained seated, wearing his sunglasses, holding his briefcase. After the passengers left, the flight attendants delivered the cash and parachutes to him. He calmly counted the money, checked the parachutes, and nodded. The next phase of his plan was about to unfold. With the passengers gone, Cooper spoke directly to the pilots. His voice remained steady. "We're going to Mexico City." He laid out a precise set of instructions. Fly at 10,000 feet. Fly at a maximum speed of 170 knots. Keep the landing gear lowered. keep the flaps at 15 degrees. Most importantly, keep the rear entry stairs deployed. This last demand shocked the crew. The Boeing 727 had a unique feature, a rear air stair that could be lowered in flight. Cooper clearly knew this, something only an experienced skydiver or a military-trained paratrooper would be aware of. The pilots protested. The plane couldn't take off with the stairs down. After a brief negotiation, they agreed to take off and allow Cooper to lower the stairs once they were airborne. When asked why he needed 4 parachutes, Cooper smiled suspiciously. He wanted the FBI to think he might force a flight attendant to jump with him. This prevented the authorities from sabotaging the parachutes. The man was clever, dangerously clever. Into the storm, the takeoff. At 7:40 p.m., Flight 305 took off from Seattle once again, this time carrying only Cooper, the flight crew, a bag of cash, 4 parachutes, and a storm waiting outside. Rain lashed the aircraft. Wind gusts hit the wings. Visibility dropped dramatically. It was the worst night to jump from a plane, but Cooper seemed unfazed. After takeoff, he instructed the crew to stay in the cockpit with the door closed. If anyone tried to follow him, he said he would detonate the bomb. At 8:05 p.m., the cockpit warning light turned on. It indicated that the rear air stair had been lowered mid-flight. The pilots felt the plane suddenly tilt upward as Cooper walked on to the stair ramp. The last words they heard from him were, "No funny stuff." Then, silence. The darkness outside was absolute. The wind roared past the fuselage. Below the plane stretched the thick forests of southwestern Washington, blanketed in rain and freezing November air. Somewhere above that wilderness, D.B. Cooper stood at the edge of the air stair, holding a reserve parachute, a canvas bag filled with 10,000 $20 bills. Courage or madness. At approximately 8:13 p.m., the plane jolted violently. This was the pressure shift caused by someone jumping into the night sky. The crew radioed the FBI. "He's gone." D.B. Cooper had leaped into a storm, into the freezing darkness, into a destiny that would become legend. After the jump, the search begins. The moment the plane landed in Reno, Nevada, FBI agents stormed aboard, but Cooper had vanished mid-air. Search teams covered the forests, mountains, and rivers of Washington. Helicopters hovered for days. Hundreds of soldiers, police, and volunteers combed the suspected landing zone. But there were no footprints, no parachute, no body, no money, nothing. It was as if the storm had swallowed him whole. The FBI began to suspect something. Maybe he didn't survive the jump. For decades, experts debated the same question. Did D.B. Cooper survive the jump? Arguments that he died. The weather was brutal. Freezing cold, violent winds. He wore no proper skydiving gear, no helmet, no gloves. He jumped into pitch-black wilderness. He chose not the best parachute. He actually picked a non-steerable military chute, making navigation almost impossible. Many believe he hit the forest and died there. Arguments that he survived. He had detailed knowledge of aircraft systems. He knew the Boeing 727 stair mechanism. He knew the precise speed and altitude needed to survive a jump. Some believe he was a former military paratrooper, maybe even part of a covert operation. But no body was ever found. No parachute, no confirmed identity. The money found in 1980. For 9 long years, the case grew colder. Then, in 1980, An 8-year-old boy on vacation with his family near the Columbia River discovered something buried in the sand. 3 packets of $20 bills, still bound by rubber bands, totaling $5,800. The serial numbers matched the ransom money given to Cooper. This discovery reopened the case, but it deepened the mystery even more. Why was only a small portion found? Where was the rest? Did Cooper bury it, or did the river carry it from his landing zone? The FBI had no answers. Scene 11. Suspects. The men who might have been Cooper. Over the years, more than 1,000 people were investigated. Many became famous suspects. 1. Richard Floyd McCoy, a Vietnam veteran who hijacked a plane in 1972